Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Out in the holler where the secrets creep, garbage can dudes digging mighty deep. Secret societies, shadows in the pines. Operation GCD of American rebels design. Double J searching deep in his brain hole, past layers of melted hops and bone resin. From cults to cover-ups, we're talking about all of that. So watch your sixth friend in the truth we trust. The world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Join us on the journey and enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us to get a little GC. Yeah, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo coats haunt the moon's pale beam. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Hell, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Out in the holler where the secrets creep, garbage can dudes digging mighty deep. Secret societies, shadows in the pines. Operation GCD of American rebels design. Double J searching deep in his brain hole, past layers of melted hops and bone resin. From cults to cover-ups, we're talking about all of that. So watch your sixth friend in the truth we trust. The world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Join us on the journey and enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us to get a little GC. Yeah, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo coats haunt the moon's pale beam. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Hell, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze.
Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this? Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination. Vaccination. I'm getting a very good feeling about vaccination right this moment. Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries? Wait a minute.
Howdy, folks. Your host, Double J, back here, coming at you live from my studio/RV dining room, located directly inside America. Welcome back, folks, to the interwebs. Thanks again for joining me here tonight to get a little GCD. Once again, your host of Operation GCD, JJ Vance here, and perhaps most notably, not the vice president. No bombs here, folks. Anyhow, welcome back. I will be your pilot navigator for tonight's shenanigan-infused journey into the mind of this particular garbage can dude. And Studio 666, yes, indeed. Not gonna lie to you, folks, got a real barn burner here on deck tonight. Got an occult and esoteric review of the 2022 cinematic satanic shit show, Studio 666, where Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters murked his entire band 28 days prior to his drummer Taylor Hawkins, the star of the film, dying a very suspicious death. So, speaking of suspicious deaths, yes, sir, Jimmy Bobby, get your buckets of pails of water on deck, sir. Bonfire inbound, or barn burner. My apologies. Anyhow, thanks again for joining me here tonight to get a little GCD, folks. We'll be doing a review of all that high weirdness, as well as some other strange murders in the grunge rock scene, because this is the Smells Like Laurel Canyon Halloween Horror Edition. That's my salute to Dave McGowan's work, where I've continued his thesis that, based upon a statement he made in a podcast one time when asked about whether or not his weird scenes inside the canyon methodology would apply to other countercultural scenes, such as grunge. And, it does indeed, in fact, match up precisely. In fact, include some of the same folks, some of their children. Like, who is your daddy and what does he do? You know what I mean? And indeed, a lot of murder, a lot of strange deaths in both of those scenes as another salient characteristic as identified by Dave McGowan. And as we've discussed somebody here, and we'll be unpacking more tonight, specifically around the Green River Killer, because isn't it strange the grunge counterculture had a Green River band? Well, there was a Green River Killer going on at the same time. And in fact, one of the grunge act's lead singers may have in fact been murked by that Green River Killer. So not just Taylor Hawkins either. There's a lot of strange deaths, So thank you all again for joining me here tonight in this Patreon preview for tonight's program, and be doing an introduction to the show here, and the rest of it on patreon.com/Operation GCD. Without any further shenanigans here on my part, got a special guest here tonight, Troublemaker Jonah. Welcome, sir. Welcome back to Operation GCD for the first time, and thanks for joining me here again to get a little GCD.
Hell yeah.
So it was actually your doing, sir. I blame you for all of this. Go ahead.
Well, I'll take credit because this movie is wild as fuck. It is so full of shit. You know what I mean? And I was gonna say,
it's super wild, dude.
At the end of the day here too, I got a special guest coming in for you on Patreon, more than likely. You know, I don't want to say anything because sometimes when we've worked in the past, you know, the networks seem to not connect. But for all the Patreon viewers, we're gonna have someone with a little bit little bit more knowledge of the esoterics, and anyone who's followed me for a while probably has a pretty good guess of who's coming. But we'll see. Having said that, yeah, no, this movie's just wild, and it's kind of funny because I actually I only watched it on a telly sync. You know what I mean? Because I went back and checked my my messages with Nick, New York Patriot or whatever. Because when this first came out, I messaged him on March 26th with just the universal hexagram when he's doing that on the screen, and I sent it to him, and I'm like, "Yo, have you seen this yet?" He's like, "What the fuck is that from?" And I told him, but then I looked up and Taylor Hawkins died on March 25. I'm like, oh shit! I only watched this when it was still only in the theater, but I got one of those Chinese theater ripoffs. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
you watched the bootleg,
and then then I watched it today, or not today, but this weekend. I was like, holy fuck! There's so much in there. But I mean, let's get into some of the other stuff you would want to do. The one thing I will.
No, yeah, dude. Well, no, let's do it. I appreciate the introduction to the show. I appreciate your introduction.
Yeah.
Back here on Operation GCD, sir, and thanks for joining me again. You did remind me of this film. I had not seen it. I was familiar with it, but it's one of those films I was like, oh, this is obviously a satanic shit show of cinema. So I'm just going to go ahead and discard this from my brain hole. Despite my affinity for grunge in the series, I decided I would get along to it at some point in time. And that point in time was when you reminded me, hey, dude, we got to do this review. And I'm like, you are correct, sir. This is a great film to do the review on.
Yeah, and it was just man, even just watching it now, even when one of the first things I picked up on, and I think we'll save this when we really dive into this portion of it. But at the start, when he's Pearl Jam high five, blah, 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 that's all the fucking, you get the reference to Pearl Jam there, and they all do the high five. But Hawkins is the only one wearing the red string. Everyone's going to say Kabbalah. But to me, I'm thinking it's the Jacob, Esau, and Perez, and whatever the fuck the other brother for the Bible is, the stealing of the heritage, right? And I'm like, oh, is that what's they're going with that? So there's a bunch of shit that way that some real fun stuff in there. But let's get into as far as some of the murders and the other stuff you want, and then we can kind of just
dude, we can definitely do that. I mean, the overall, just my general understanding of the film was it was pretty overtly satanic, overt references to human sacrifice, Aleister Crowley, demons, demon shit.
Yep.
What's right in your face, though, sir? It's almost like they're celebrating it. Do they not realize we're in a panic? We're in the middle. We're in the midst of year 45 plus of a satanic panic, and these yahoos are out here celebrating this stuff, right?
Just like the House on America, the House Committee on Un-American Activities, and fucking Joseph McCarthy were allegedly a Red Scare. But I mean, America definitely hasn't gone so much more communist since that time. But I mean, it was all.
I live in a communist nation, sir. I don't. That's how I look at it.
Well, you're talking to a Canadian, so I would rather live in your communist nation than my communist nation.
Slightly less commie on this side of the border, the south and the lower 48 here.
Yeah.
Slightly.
But I mean, it's always funny too when I hear Americans talk about the First Amendment, Second Amendment, and I'm like,
we got no amendments here, bro. I don't know why I just gave you a bro. We got no amendments here, sir.
Oh shit! Hey. Shout out to A Savage talking about Hotep Jesus Live. There we go.
Nice. I was going to ask you what HJL meant. Thank you for translating that for me, sir.
Hotep Jesus Live is on Kick. It's every Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. He does, a lot of the Black consciousness type stuff, the Hotep stuff, and also does a lot of shit on the AI and the AI stock market, etc. And it's always a good.
That sounds interesting, dude. I'm not familiar with any of what you're describing. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll share you the link. When he used to do live call-ins, I'd call in every day. So it's always good. But yeah, no.
Nice.
Let's get back to it. Actually,
so Taylor Hawkins, right? He's a star of this, right? He is one of the co-stars, right?
Yeah, and I mean, did you even pick up on the opening credits too when they put his name? Did you happen to notice what they did with?
I did. It was it's almost like they highlighted his name in specific relative to the other band members' names. And we even get Pat Smear back. He's a former band member. He's not even a current band member, right?
Yeah, but well, I gotta bring that clip up and play it if you don't mind it. So I got it at 45 seconds because I slowed it down.
Yeah, dude, knock it out, man. I'm glad that's awesome, dude. Bring it on up.
They put his name right in front of the word Slade.
Can you hold that thought, sir?
Yeah.
Can you hold that thought, sir?
No problem. I video. Yep.
Just in time, my favorite CIA AI bot, Bill Colby Ballwasher, RR channel. How you doing, sir? I salute you for being wrong and your dedication to doing such. That actually might be a true statement. However, I would argue he's not against authoritative control. Bill Colby, a real dickbag.
Yeah, and then I have that open there as far as the opening credits here, and I'll play it a little faster because it's on a slower speed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will bring that up right now. I just want to make one further bookend statement there for them boys down at Langley, them ball washers down at Langley of Bill Colby. You can call it communism, whatever nonsense. Authoritative control of anti-liberty actions. That's all what I'm talking about. RR's too dense or ignorant and intentionally to understand these matters. I always tell them these days, tell them boys at Langley to go fuck themselves, RR. But good to see you, bud.
I'll mute that. So I didn't mute it because we don't really need it, but you see there, Taylor Hawkins, it says Slade, and then it goes through, and here we go, Dream Widow drummer found dead, and that's the only one that, as you go through the openings,
right?
That's the only.
But if you go back to his name, sir, there's nothing behind it, right? It's like it's being highlighted, right?
Yeah, and then it comes up the Dream Widow band Slade.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So you take the sequence, right? You're taking.
Yeah.
I apologize. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I agree exactly with what you're saying, and it's just wild while they do that. So
yeah, because they don't. They give you a black screen. They give you his name, and then they give you those two subsequent pictures, and then he's dead 28 days later. He is a drummer from the band.
Yeah, and what's even more funny too, because I looked into it, I was like, oh well, since they like to play with their fucking numbers, these fucking, these Thelemites,
these fucking Muppets. These fucking
Thelemites, right?
Muppets.
They like to play with their numbers.
For sure, dude. I mean, there's an overt reference to ritual human sacrifice in the context of it being a Thelemic practice in this film, and that's fascinating.
Yeah. And then on top of that, though, too, right? So I went back and I checked the Hollywood or the world premiere. It was 12 days prior to February 25th, which would make, if you have 28 days between the two, that would make it 40, and that's the full gestation period of a pregnancy.
Oh shit!
So,
all right. I like your style, sir.
So when they run that from the opening credit at the Chinese theater, whatever the fuck it was, I think it was the Chinese theater in Hollywood, right? To his death, that's 40 days as well, and I'm like, oh, well, that's full gestation period from conception.
Is that where they did the premiere for this? Was it not Grohl's Chinese Theater? What's the name of that spot? Something Chinese Theater?
I believe so. Let's see. Go ahead and it was the Chinese
Grauman's Chinese Theater. Grauman's. That's a pretty popular spot there in Hollywood for premieres. But I was gonna say I don't know if it's that one or the nearby Grauman's Egyptian Theater, but one of these I believe used to be a Masonic Lodge.
Sorry, it's listed, and I got that backwards. I did the math wrong there real quick because I was just doing this. But it was February 16th, which is also the day before Taylor Hawkins' birthday anyways, and it was the TCL Chinese Theater, it says. It's right on the Studio 66 Wikipedia.
That's the new name of it. It used to be Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Yeah. Yeah. So they did that out there. So it wasn't the 40 days. My bad. It would have been 37. But either way, they did it the day before Taylor Hawkins' birthday, and then he ends up dead, 37 days later, 28 days after the movie releases, out of Four Seasons, if the Four Seasons doesn't have an occult esoteric name to it as well, right?
Right.
So
I may be conflating this theater with the Jimmy Kimmel Theater, but I thought, wait, is the Jimmy Kimmel film is there? Because I know Jimmy Kimmel's in a Masonic Lodge. There's a weird history to the Grauman's Chinese theater. It's escaping my brain all the moment, sir. But it's interesting that they do the premieres there because that's not every premiere that goes on there, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they like to kind of pick their locations as well. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm getting at, dude. I mean, this whole film, it's not like objectively speaking, sir, this film is dog shit. It's a dog shit film,
Yeah.
objectively. Like, as far as the character basis, I mean, they're coming in hot with a murder you don't understand till the last 20 minutes of the film. And even at that point, you have to repiece it together in your brain. And you're like, what the fuck happened?
Although, since we have your favorite CIA guy here, can we or can we do the Jesuit shit since he loves to fucking ball wash?
Dude, please do. R loves the Jesuit shit. He's into it.
Okay, yeah, no. So
he washes his balls in the Jesuit shit, and then he washes Bill Colby's balls.
I'm just loading that video, and I'm gonna share it right now. Again, I had all these videos ready, and then I was using I had it all in the wrong format, so then the Google slide sucks balls. But so now I have that open when you want to share it.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Okay.
Ever since
My Portuguese singing bowls.
ooh, those vibrations.
And we can stop there. Now there are some
these ideas of singing bowls, this is very new agey, right? So that's a very new agey thing right off rip, right?
Yeah, but I got so much more on that. We'll get to the moment here because I'm sharing my other screen because I actually did some shit here. Now let's go ahead first with when he's going down, you notice that weird fucking Jesuit statue that he has in his garden, right?
Well, I was about to say that garden looks very much like it's intricately designed for some occult ritualistic purposes.
Yeah, like that's a weird Jesuit monk thing going on motif, and then he goes up and she's singing, "I got a confession to make." So as soon as I heard confession, I'm like, okay, that's Ignatius of Loyola, and let's go ahead that because they're automatically like when you think about it, right? The Jesuits are automatically tied to all the confession shit. Then she says, "I'm your fool." But when she said Portuguese,
it's a very interesting. Yeah, she looks a lot like Flo from Progressive commercials, but that's Whitney Cummings.
Yeah.
There's a private school. If I may, sir, she's a private school because we were talking about who is her daddy and what does he do and how does she get to where she's at.
Yeah,
she is from the great state of West Virginia there, but she was raised in D.C. in a private school that cost more than most folks home. You know what I mean? So
and her mother,
she claims today, like, "Oh, I grew up poor. Get out of town, lady. Get out of town." You kidding me, buddy?
And her mother's maiden name is Cumming, and her name is Cummings. What's that about? I think she grew up in West Virginia.
Right? Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. That's what we do down there, sir. My Appalachian family tree looks indeed like an Appalachian family pole. Now, it lacks the requisite branches for me to describe it as a tree. I was just looking around for my doobie, and it's right here. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you bring up my screen, while she talks about the Portuguese singing bowl, so I heard Portuguese, and she does this whole thing with her fucking necklace, and then, but now I've researched the Jesuits. Now let's go ahead here. This screen here, I went to MK Google and I asked about Ignatius
Google.
Ignatius the scumbag of Loyola.
That's a good way to put it, though. MK Google, right? We are getting kind of fucking. Mind word there on Google, aren't we, these days?
Yeah, I asked about that Ignatius scumbag of Loyola, and you'll see here that right next to the blue, the part there, it says the society established its first province in Portugal in 1546. So that's a fun reference. But I like I say, I also started. So I mean, this might be a good segue before we go. I'm not trying to tell you a show before we go to Patreon, but the Portuguese Jesuits were also in charge of Nagasaki for 8 years back in the 1600s. And if you ask me, that's the reason that they decided to drop a second bomb in Nagasaki when there was no reason to, because the first bomb already had Japan ready to fucking surrender.
So what you're saying, sir, there's a burger element to all this, is what you're saying. They really fried them motherfuckers up.
Yeah. Well, that was a hydrogen bomb, but I mean, you can just like I just went to Wikipedia for the easy stuff, and I was like, Portuguese Nagasaki. Of course, they ran it from 1580 to 1587, as it says there. Then the Japs kicked him out, Hirohito and his family, and then all of a sudden, they already dropped the bomb in Hiroshima, but then and then even if you look at the flight paths, because they go from Guam up, and they have to like. Oh, there's a storm coming from one direction, and but the official story says there's a storm, so they had to cancel their first. So Nagasaki was the second destination, but they had to fly into the storm. If you read it, if you actually do the research and look at maps and shit, it's like, wait a minute, none of this adds up. But so again, that's a fun one. But I mean, our
it's a fun journey.
RR is going to tell us that Ignatius and the Jesuits are innocent of everything.
Totally innocent, dude. They did nothing wrong, sir. Nothing wrong. No, it's awesome stuff. We'll be unpacking more of these occult and esoteric natures of this cinematic satanic shit show. Studio 666, starring Dave Grohl murking this entire band 28 days prior to one of those band members in the film dying a suspicious death. We'll also be discussing some of the other suspicious deaths related to the grunge scene and the Smells Like Laurel Canyon lens of Dave McGowan's weird scenes inside the canyon, doing a compare and contrast to those salient characteristics. And yes, sir, go ahead.
Special guest, I believe, because he's messaged me and he was already in the background earlier. So special guest should be coming too.
We got a secret special guest and a special guest. Special guest Jonas, secret special guest Raven.
Yeah. Raven Keeper. Yep.
Yeah, Raven Keeper. There we go. And one of those murders again is a matter I think is very much an unsolved matter, and may in fact connect to Ted Bundy et al. With when I mean et al, like Eugene Creech, because Bundy made comments that him and Thomas Eugene Creech were operating out of the same cult, and people are like, "Oh, these folks are just like, oh, we can't believe what he said. You can't listen to that, man." You know what I mean? It's the most ridiculous responses we get for these things, but. The Green River Killer, as they claim, Gary Ridgway, I have a lot of questions, but nonetheless, there was a fella who knew Ted Bundy who was a primary suspect in the Green River killings years prior. And then, of course,
the
lead singer from the...
Who was arrested his final time on my birthday, February 15, 1978, but Killer Hawkins' birthday, February 17. Just saying.
No shit. All right.
That time he was arrested in Florida. February 15, 1978, he was arrested within either 5 or 55 minutes of my actual birth, but that's just a fun fact that I came across once.
There's a troublemaker Jonah fun fact, folks. Well, so interestingly enough, Mia Zapata, the lead singer of the Gets, who was a Seattle psychologist, presented to a national audience of the American Psychological Association in 1998, claiming the Green River Killer had murdered a number of women in ritual human sacrifices, prostitutes mainly, in and around Seattle there. And Mia Zapata was one of those victims. Now, they have somebody else in prison today for her murder. Actually, he died a couple years ago in prison. But much like Gary Ridgway, there's a lot of holes in these cases. And again, the other primary suspect years before Ridgway knew, in all likely probabilities, knew Ted Bundy. They were law school students at the same time in the same law firm. So I don't got a photo of these fellows together, but you know what I mean? Like, let's use our brain holes, folks. But so we'll get into some of that. And Mia Zapata, strangely enough, the band The Gets, that was her lead. She was a lead singer. And the band The Gets actually formed. The whole band formed here about 7 miles away where I'm sitting today, sir, in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Nice. It's a very interesting town. It's a mound town, of course, here in these Ohio parts. But Dave Chappelle lives there today. Nation of Islam Scientologist Dave Chappelle. That's where he opened up his comedy club. He lives on a farm on a mound there, strangely enough. Go figure. Ancient alien cargo cult is living on a mound. Typical. So it's interesting, though, this band, because there's a lot of interesting aspects of Mia Zapata with a lot of these other characters. Who was her daddy? What did he do? Her daddy was a media mogul of sorts in a regional TV station. But, back when we had a regional TV station still.
Nice.
Yeah, well, you have a lot of that in the Seattle grunge scene. One of the major players in the Seattle grunge scene behind the scenes is a guy by the name of Dudley Taft III. His dad, who's his daddy? What did he do? He ran Taft Broadcasting. And at one point in time, employed during the combination of the Taft's EW Scripps Corporation, another Cincinnati-based headquartered media corporation like Taft, EW Scripps, employed Dave Grohl's father. So at one point in time, that's what I'm saying. These Tafts are connected to everybody. Dudley Taft, in fact, his private school there in Seattle, his bandmates or his classmates formed the post-grunge band, Presidents of the United States of America. And again, the Taft family is the only family to produce a chief Supreme Court justice and U.S. president, being William Howard Taft, and that is indeed the forefather or the ancestor of Dudley Taft there. So. These fucking Taft motherfuckers are everywhere, and even when I thought that, sir, the last edition of this Smells Like Laurel Canyon series, there, folks of the interwebs, thanks again for joining me here tonight. Get a little GCD on these matters. But the last edition, I found a fellow named Josh Taft, and he's a major figure in filming a lot of the music videos in the grunge scene and doing a lot of the behind the scenes media stuff. So when I say these fucking Taft fuckers are everywhere, dude, someone fed these fuckers after midnight.
Even in the White House and Yale.
Well, I mean, and Dudley Taft III himself there, he financed a movement here about 8-10 years ago in Ohio to make they found a loophole. So a couple of those dickbag attorneys, basically every attorney's a dickbag. So basically any attorney that he hired, dickbag attorneys, they quote unquote found a loophole, and they could amend the Ohio Constitution via a vote. And when I say a vote, it's a very gerrymandered vote they had created through this process. Yeah. It all got shut down. A lot of these people got arrested by the feds. Who knows what else was really going on there, but he was a financier of that project. And it was to legalize marijuana, but do so through an amendment to the Constitution. But it was even murky if it was even going to be a successful. It would have been challenged in the Supreme Court. The shit they were doing was, in my opinion, it's hood rat shit. So it's a real technical term, I understand, but it's hood rat shit. So, we'll be getting into those matters, and I just got a brief clip to show folks of the interwebs the matters around me as a pot is death, and the how, because this is from an Unsolved Mysteries clip, so they didn't technically solve it for like 20 years, dude. So from 1994 to I think 2014, maybe it's 2004, maybe it's 10 years, but nonetheless, this was made at a time when they didn't have a lot of answers. So it's always interesting to me to look at how things are being, sold, the narratives being sold, and the statements made by law enforcement, because it's Unsolved Mysteries. We get law enforcement statements in an active case, which you don't get a lot of that today. Maybe cases that are in the past, like cold cases and shit, right? But this was this was a hot case at the time of this filming in 1990. I think it was the year of the murder. This was the filming of this was season 8, I believe, so up in 1994. And then again, the guy I think is a lot to be said about being related to the Green River killings, and I'm not saying Gary Ridgway seems like he may have been involved in some shit. I think I'm starting to build a pattern here that it seems like these cult fuckers, these satanic, thelemic cult Nazi Satanist fuckers, they like to set up their own, if you will, right? So they'll pick somebody within their own group as a follow guy or patsy, I think, in a lot of these cases. I think that's all we see in that instance, in my opinion. But here, we got 2 clips. And then we'll go over to the Patreon side. And again, I thank you all for joining me. 2 clips, and watch out.
There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice.
And watch out for 2 lasers. They got Ted twice, folks. Watch out. You got to stay vigilant. And there's, by my accounts, we're going to be getting some of that Green River killer business again in a Seattle grunge countercultural scene that had a band named Green River, one of these seminal forefronting bands of the whole movement. It's bizarre, but
and we could probably
what's even more bizarre is the fact that they want to limit the amount of victims. They're like, no. We got 48, and maybe we'll add a few more, but there's like 100 plus, dude. There's a lot of dead hookers.
Sounds like a picnic.
But again, they're not all hookers, though. I think some of them get trapped in the mix that aren't hookers. Maybe she was mistaken for a hooker. I don't know. But Mia Zapata, who, by the way, you know your history, sir. You know what I'm talking about when I say this. She is a descendant of the General Zapata of the Mexican Revolution.
Zapata oil.
Well, that's an interesting connection.
Zapata oil,
well, what's the connection between Zapata oil at the end of the day and the Zapata family, right? You know what I mean? Is George Bush just taking that name arbitrarily?
Who knows? I haven't looked into that, but I really should, right? Because, really should look into that, I guess.
We have again, the weird scenes inside the canyon of, salient characteristics identified by McGowan in his tale there.
Yeah.
As applied to the grunge countercultural scene, we have the great I think it's the great granddaughter of a Mexican revolutionary general, is a forefront of the scene. One of the female lead acts. You may not have heard of the Gits as like a commercial success, but they were a major act. Like when she was murdered, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, a number of other acts, they all did fundraisers. I mean, they were all part of the act. They were part of the grunge scene. I mean, and she was one of the few female lead singers, right? You know what I mean?
So she was kind of like the Damien Eccles.
Well, as far as because Pearl Jam supporting them, that's a good point, right? Because look who's getting involved in these matters, right? That's an excellent point.
You got all the grunge supporting, right? Damien Eccles. Yeah, he's completely innocent, but he pled guilty twice to get out of prison.
Totally didn't do it, sir. Totally didn't do it. Totally innocent. Totally innocent. It just says, well, look at all the details of how these people are being laid out, right? So it's the manner in which they're being. Again, these are matters. Not only McGowan highlights and weird scenes, but also Programmed to Kill, satanic serial killers. Phoenix program come out. And yes, Laser Tag Ted can. I will laugh a billion fucking times at that clip. I'm not gonna lie to you. So on that note, folks of the interwebs, thanks again for joining me here tonight to go GCD and special guest Jonah and secret special guest Raven Kiefer, so like his name and like his style. Looking forward to these conversations in the occult and our esoteric review of the 2022 satanic cinematic shit show Studio 666, where Dave Grohl murks his entire band, and then 28 days later, one of those band members dies a suspicious death. So we'll be getting into that more and those other murders, strange matters, and murders around the grunge countercultural scene in the lens of weird scenes inside the canyon in this edition of Smells Like Laurel Canyon, Halloween Horror Edition. So, folks of the interwebs, thanks again for joining us. We'll see everyone on the Patreon side. Catch this broadcast in the future. Check out, patreon.com/OperationGCD. And the link is in the show notes. And tomorrow night, more tales of Muppet Mikey Aquino, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in the Anatomy of the Satanic Panic. Muppet Mikey Aquino, everyone's favorite psychological warfare officer, allegedly a Green Beret, but I like to see some evidence of that. And his pal, Laser Tag Ted. What's that, sir?
I forgot one tidbit for the people that.
Am I out? Are you out? Somebody's out.
Not only did Taylor Hawkins die on March 25th, Dave Grohl released Dream Widow CD, which was the fake band in the movie, on March 25th, was also Taylor Hawkins' death, and I forgot to bring that up. So people listening, you can check that out.
That was a barn-burning fun fact, sir, that I'm happy you share, but we will share more of those as well on the Patreon side. And on that note, again, tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times, and on Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times, an occult and/or esoteric review of vampire shit. The Dusk Till Dawn film and the recent Black remake, Sinners. Actually, they're both good films in my opinion, but outside of get a new storyline, Hollywood, quit remaking films and putting a new name on it. You know what I mean? So on that note, folks of the interwebs, one more final message. Maybe.
There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice.
Stay vigilant, folks. They got Ted twice. So see you on the Patreon side here momentarily. And folks of the interwebs, see y'all again tomorrow night. Thanks again for joining me here to get a little GCD.
Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Out in the holler where the secrets creep, garbage can dudes digging mighty deep. Secret societies, shadows in the pines. Operation GCD of American rebels design. Double J searching deep in his brain hole, past layers of melted hops and bone resin. From cults to cover-ups, we're talking about all of that. So watch your sixth friend and the truth we trust. The world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati lighting things ablaze. OpGCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Join us on the journey and enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us to get a little GCD. Hey, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo coats haunt the moon's pale beam. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Hell, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. OpGCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Out in the holler where the secrets creep, garbage can dudes digging mighty deep. Secret societies, shadows in the pines. OpGCD of American rebels design. Double J searching deep in his brain hole, past layers of melted hops and bone resin. From cults to cover-ups, we're talking about all of that. So watch your sixth friend in the truth we trust. The world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. OpGCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Join us on the journey and enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us to get a little GCD. Hey, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo coats haunt the moon's pale beam. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Hell, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze.